Okay, I've kept quiet on this matter for a long time because I thought that maybe the community had reached a proper outrage with SimCity and the always-on DRM. And I'd heard stories that possibly the Xbox 720 would have always-on DRM as well. But I've kept my mouth shut. You know, I haven't gone off, I haven't ranted publicly. However, this morning, I read a blog by Cliff Bleszinski, CliffyB, the oh-so-holy creator of Unreal and Gears of War, who can never be criticized without backlash, in which he stated, and by the way, this is the second time in a month he's been the corporate hero. Last month, he did his best Chris Crocker imitation going, "Leave EA alone! Oh, please leave them alone about the microtransactions." Bullshit. Alright, this is the second time in a month. Today, or yesterday, whenever he wrote the damn thing, he says the Microsoft creative director, who just resigned or was fired, whichever one you want to call it, who said on a Twitter post, he labeled it with the hashtag "deal with it" in response to criticism of the Xbox 720 having always-on DRM. He said, "deal with it." CliffyB basically comes to his defense. Not only that, he says, basically labels traditional gamers, virtually everybody, as thieves, pirates, that the generation coming up after us, after mine, which we're supporting the generation that's 10 to 15, they're just gonna, you know what, don't even get mad. That generation, they're gonna forget about all this. They're just little sheep. So you might as well just go back to sleep. And he also said, it's disgusting that the community would celebrate a man losing his job. Okay, I'll get back to that later. Okay, but what I want to go on about is what the issues I have are with the Microsoft always-on DRM. First of all, Microsoft has filed patents in which they are going to be able, through the Kinect technology, through your cable system, to tell who's in the room, how many people, possibly through facial recognition. I don't know if this is a Facebook, type situation, but they definitely filed the patent to be able to tell how many people are in their room. So say you've got a party going on, and you've got 6 friends, and you're all watching a movie. You've got to pay individual licenses for all those people in the room. And say 2 more friends show up. Sorry, playback's halted. You got to buy 2 more licenses. You're fucked. How do you like that? Also, another thing that they've gone for, which the Verge has thankfully come out with the article this week, is if you're watching something, turn your head, it's going to pause. How do you like that idea? Now, this is a similar technology to what Google's got going on with the Galaxy S4, where your eyes will help it scroll. And some of this may view, some people may view this as, oh, that's really handy, I could use that. Alright, how irritating would it be if, say, I'm multitasking, okay? I want to be on my laptop or whatever, or tablet. I just want to listen to that. What is he? Just not going to play? And let me give you a little piece of information. Companies don't do R&D for millions and billions of dollars for these technologies just to have them optional. They don't go in through your cable to have these features be optional for you. What is it going to be next? You got to be sitting there like a lab monkey, or what's his name from A Clockwork Orange, not being able to look around, otherwise the damn thing is going to pause. What's next? You got to have your eyelids literally held open so that all their subliminal messages get poured into your mind without any outside influences at all. Bullshit. And you don't think they view copyright issues as important? Really? Have you paid attention to YouTube for the past couple of years? Have you seen the way that they've been scouring people's channels and videos trying to look for any sift of copyright information? Hell, just last year, they had the Sega issue where people were just mentioning a game or not mentioning it at all, and they'd get a copyright strike. And 3 strikes and you're out. I created a Tomb Raider review a couple weeks ago. Within an hour of upload, they had a copyright flag on that right away. And they don't give a shit about fair use. Because, well, this is the key. You're not allowed to do gameplay if you don't have commentary or criticism. Okay? That isn't fair use. And I didn't monetize it either. That's very important. It has to be a non-profit situation. But they don't care. They content ID it anyways. Trying to just get you. And also, you don't think content copyright is important? Ask Aaron Swartz about that. Well, you can't. He's dead. Aaron Swartz, the co-founder of Reddit, who downloaded a couple of academic papers with not the intention to sell them, just downloaded them, was facing 30 years in prison for that. The same Department of Justice ships guns and hand grenades to Mexico in Operation Fast and Furious. Look that up. I'm not kidding about that title. Nobody goes to jail. Aaron Swartz downloads a couple of academic papers. He's facing 30 years and died under very suspicious circumstances, I might add. You can look into that yourself. So again, you don't think they view copyright as important? You don't think they'll roll this stuff out? No. I don't like where this is going. And I'll tell you another thing. I don't like about the always-on DRM. Never mind the fact that it could have connectivity issues and your game could be dropped, or they could pull the server's plug. You know, that's what came out with SimCity is, hey, down the road, they might pull the plug on the servers. They have it where you can be sitting there talking with somebody, and this is going on all over the place with these smart devices. Hell, David Petraeus said it a couple months ago that your dishwasher's listening to you, your refrigerator, and he's a CIA director. Okay, you be talking to somebody and they'll say, you know, my dog took a shit in my kitchen. All of a sudden, you'll be bombarded with dog ads or biscuits or how to neuter your dog, whatever, which sounds useful on the surface. However, let's go to another scenario. Let's say you're getting frisky with your significant other on your couch. Do you really want an ad blaring at you where it says, hey, try this birth control, or these are the best condoms out there? Fuck no. Get that bitch out of my house. You got to do a cost-benefit analysis. If you think that's benefiting you, that Orwellian, I'm in your face all the time, you've got to look at the screen all the time. And here's another facet, another patent that they've gone for. That if you're under 18, you won't be able to view mature content. Now, whether that means you won't be able to watch Mad Men, I don't know what they deem as mature content or porn. I don't know. However, the way they do it is by estimating your body proportions so that they can figure out your age. Well, bullshit to you and your discriminatory body proportion. What if somebody is a 19-year-old and they've got the proportions of a 17-year-old? That's straight bullshit. Okay? And what about freedom? So what if I'm 17? I can watch where the fuck I want. This is just nuts. And these are things that are out there as possibilities. All patents aren't going to be implemented, okay? We've seen this before. Not everything that's applied for is used. And I don't know with that 18-year-old, they could do it like a face scan thing where you've got to register, and then they can tell how old you are that way. It could be. But going to my Cliff Bleszinski tirade, he came out with a blog in which this is one of the funnier parts. How he says, in the role of a gamer, your traditional gamer, he goes, I shouldn't be treated like a criminal. Alt tabs to BitTorrent. Well, bullshit to that. Most of gamers are not torrenters. They're not pirates. And I will refute anybody that says most gamers are pirates. You understand? And the irony of that is the measures he's trumpeting, and other companies have been trumpeting, the always-on DRM, that and microtransactions, that and the raising of game prices to like $70 now on console games. Those are the driving factors for piracy more than anything. It's not just a bunch of people sitting around going, you know what, I'm too lazy, I don't want to buy that. It happened. All I heard during SimCity Week was this always-on DRM is bullshit. They are going to pull the plug on these servers at some point. I've got to find the crack to this. This is nuts. We've got to have an offline mode. And you know what? Within a couple days, they had an offline mode made. You couldn't save on it, but that drove the piracy more than anything. You drop the prices on the games, you sell more games. Pure and simple. And it's just like Riccatello said, all games eventually are going to have microtransactions. So what is this, a paradox here? And you know what else? You got to find this out for yourself eventually. And I hope and I know that you're intelligent enough to realize this. The game companies, most of the publishers, don't give a shit about you. You understand? Riccatello, when he left, for instance, his farewell letter said absolutely nothing in his reasoning about consumers. They call you consumers. They think of you as a piggy bank jellyfish. Consumers had nothing to do with that. It was all Wall Street. All lingo about financials. That's all it's about. Well, you know what? If you get out of your boardroom thinking, you'd be able to realize that if you drop the damn prices on the games, get these fucking microtransactions out of here, get this always-on DRM out of here, you'd actually sell more games. People wouldn't have as much of a reason to go to GameStop. People wouldn't have as much of a reason to go to BitTorrent or whatever the hell is even up anymore. But no, you got to do this ham-handed, force it down our throat, and it's not right. Another thing that CliffyB said was that the generation below you, you know, you might as well just go back to sleep, because that's the thing that got this guy fired, was he created a shitstorm. If you go out there and you tweet something and get everybody out of their trance, people are going to pay attention, and it's going to wake people up like that. So he's trying to like hypnotize you back to sleep. Don't get angry. You know, that the generation below you, the technology generation, this is all going to be forgotten about. Don't worry about it. Well, I don't want you to forget about it. I want you to stay upset. I want you to remember these things. I want you to remember last week with the nuts measures coming out that there could be always on DRM. I want you to remember last year with Sega and them threatening to ban accounts just talking about a game. I want you to remember Aaron Swartz. I want you to make sure your kids stay informed. Make sure you stay informed. Don't let them get the better of you, because I know you have thought patterns which are so much more intelligent than Madison Avenue gives you credit for. And another thing, America is still very much in the shits economically. They may not feel it in their island penthouse in Manhattan. They may not feel it in San Francisco. They may not feel it as much in Los Angeles. But in mainstream America, we're still in the shits. They might have pumped the stock market back up to 2008 levels before they dropped the bottom. But we can't keep getting nickel and dimed like this. How in the world do you think the generation under mine is going to afford this kind of tech if our pockets are basically empty? Okay? Again, my generation is supporting that one. There are kids now. What, are you going to give it to them for free? How kind of you. It doesn't work. You can't keep nickel and diming the shit out of America. And the final thing that CliffyB said, which was extremely, just very insulting, was, I really am disheartened and disgusted by the fact that people are mad or people are happy that this man lost his job. That's not why people are happy. It's because the arrogance with which that man showed, and furthermore the arrogance you're showing by going along with that same attitude and mindset, that it's in your face, deal with it, always on DRM. These patents are there, okay? And it's not because people are all happy as hell because he will not be able to fill up his BMW for a week of premium. That's not it. Okay, a Microsoft creative director makes a hell of a lot of money. It's the repudiation. It's the thought that, you know what? We don't like that. You came out against us and you lost, pal. And one other thing. Sony would be brilliant to come out with their PS4 without always on DRM, if that's what Xbox 720 plans on doing. It's not completely confirmed yet, but with the deal with it, and with CliffyB saying it's coming like a freight train, better get ready, could very well be on the Xbox 720. Sony would be tremendous by not having that on their system, on their PS4, because then we all get to vote with our wallets. And that in America and the world today seems to be the only non-corrupt way of voting, of getting your voice heard with your wallet, by saying, no, we don't want to go along with this always on DRM. We don't want your fucking microphones in our house. We don't want your cameras. I want it so that I can turn away from the fucking screen and it's not going to pause on me. I don't want the fact that I might be getting busy with my girlfriend or boyfriend and I don't want to have a condom ad flashing in front of me. I don't want to be sitting there like from A Clockwork Orange having to look at the screen, having no other influences around you. You know, they always push the fact that they want you to be social. They got social buttons on controllers, everything, yet they don't want you being in social circles where they don't control the medium. If you have a bunch of friends over and they're watching a movie and 2 more people come in, you gotta pay for that. You're being penalized. Bullshit. Be social. Be active. Be informed. Say no to all of this. If this is what's coming down the pike, these patents are real. If they decide to go ahead with this, if Xbox 720 is always on DRM, I recommend that you don't buy it. Now, this is the world we live in, okay? You have the choice. You have a choice not to get it. You have a choice to get it. And if you decide not to, if you decide to say, you know what, fuck this guy, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, that's your right. I will not blast you for it. I will not. Because that is your right as a human being on this planet. All I'm doing is presenting information. Even if you come at me personally, all I'll think is, you know what, that was really unnecessary. They came at me personally. Now perhaps if you have some intellectual information, we can have a discussion about it. But I wanted to present with you the information because unlike them, I view you as an intelligent being, and I don't view you as, and this is what's really alarming. The zombie craze that's going on in the world right now, the zombies are not the undead. They're the unliving. And the unliving is us. With Google glasses coming out, where you'll be walking around in an absolute trance, Brave New World style, with phones where you'll be looking at it and it'll be scrolling along with your eyes, with TVs that you're just going to have to sit there and not look around, maybe not even blink. I mean, hell, who knows? You've got to get out there. You've got to be living. I don't want you to be a zombie. Okay? I know you're smarter than MTV and Madison Avenue gives you credit for. I know you'll take this information, you'll think about it, you'll check the links that I showed you, you'll do everything you can to get to the bottom of this, and if you view what I said as bullshit, or if you view what I said as being right, tremendous. You've done your part. But for CliffyB to sit there and say, well, I browse Reddit all the time. You know what? You're demeaning the memory of Aaron Swartz just by going on there. So don't go on fucking Reddit while you're go ahead and toting water for guys that want to copyright us to death when that's what he died for. Don't go on Reddit. All right, I've had enough. You know what? You all are just going to do what you want to do, and I presented the information, and I hope you all look at it in an open way, and thanks for watching. Because if Xbox 720 comes out with always on DRM, then we get to go ahead and not buy their product, and their balance sheet is not lining up, and it's in the red, and they're bitching and saying, what did we do wrong? I don't understand. We as a collective can all get together and say, deal with it. Talk later.